What is going on, Facebook? Coach Stefan here. I know this live looks a little bit different than what we normally do, and you can see that I'm sharing my screen right here. And one thing that I want to let you guys know is we're actually going to start doing more training styles. So I'm giving you guys tangible stuff. Now, FYI, we have a podcast with about 75, 80 episodes on it, where I'm just sitting in my chairs back there and we are talking mindset and it's more like nothing visual, right? It's a podcast. However, I want these trainings to be pretty live and interactive for you guys. So this is today's topic because this is a question I get quite often. What do I do if I can only go to the gym 3 days a week, right? Or what do you do if you only go 3 days? Whatever, however you want to word it. Doesn't matter. This is a common question I get because most people, I'm going to break down a couple things. We'll do a little bit of mindset work, but then we'll dive in. Most people can actually go more than 3 days a week. This is just like the bare minimum. Like if you want to get in shape, right? Burning fat, building muscle, increasing your performance, which is what we do with all our clients. The minimum is 3 days a week. Anything less than 3 days, something is better than nothing for sure. But if you can't get 3 days a week, you need to really, really look at your life and your lifestyle and your schedule and figure out, what that looks like and figure out a way to go more than 3 days or at least 3 days. I've worked with so many clients, and sorry if you can hear my dogs barking in the background. I've worked with so many clients and I've had people go, I don't have time. And then we build a Google Calendar and we put out everything they need to do, shopping, taking care of the kids, going to work, doing all that. And with every single person, I've never been able to find that they can't go to the gym 30 days or 3 days a week. Can't talk today. 30 to 45 minutes minimum, right? Like you can make that happen. I guarantee you. We have clients that work 12-hour shifts, probably 14 with driving and all that stuff, that still on those days can make 30 or 45 minutes work. But you know what? If you're in the first responder military community and you work 12-hour shifts, how many days a week do you work? 3 or possibly 4, which means every week you have 4 days off or you have 3 days. And even our first responders, it's like, okay, cool. You're training on the days you don't work. And on the days you do work, you probably, most of them, have a decently active job. And if you don't, you adjust your nutrition accordingly, okay? So the questions you have to ask yourself is, number one, what is your goal? If your goal is fat loss, guess what? I have really good news for you. You actually don't even need to work out barely at all, okay? I'm not saying you should, but like if your goal is fat loss, okay, I'm going to do this. You can train 1 to 2 days, or well, let me do that again. 1 to 2 days a week. Okay. And the reason you can do this and the only way you can do that is if you have solid, I'm not a very fast typer. So if you have solid nutrition, that's literally the only way you can do it. Okay. If you have solid nutrition, you can work out less because 70 to 80% of fat loss comes from nutrition. And I'm not going to break down too far into how that works, but we've had clients that have gotten injured, right? Playing intramural sports or, going hiking or whatever, pretty early on in the program. Bad luck, right? We've also had clients that lost 35 pounds in 4 months doing barely any exercises. So we have scientific data, proof, and case studies and client studies to back this up. And this is also widely known in the fitness community, okay? So if you're trying to lose weight, right? So first of all, what's your goal, right? So it'd be fat loss, increase performance, right? Or gain muscle. I'll make this look nice in a second, right? So those probably are the 3 goals you have for most people. If we're talking about fat loss, you only need to work out 1 day a week, right? And it's doing an autocorrect, so just bear with me. But either one of those goals, and a lot of our first responders go, well, I would like to do all 3. Who doesn't want to burn fat, build muscle, okay, and increase your performance? Even the women, you might say, well, I don't really want to build muscle. If you want to be toned and have a sexy looking body, it's gaining muscle and lowering your body fat. I promise you, I'm not trying to get you jacked and bulky. That's not it. But like you probably have less muscle on you than you think. And you gaining muscle will just make you look better and it will increase your metabolism, okay? So you really only need to work out 1 to 2 days a week. If you are trying to increase your performance, I would say 3+ days a week. And the reason I say that is it's hard to do what you need to do for the military or firefighting or law enforcement, whatever, which is basically you need all components. You need to have a little bit of endurance. You need to have at least a little bit of strength and cardio. And if you're not really training that often, it is hard to get everything in 1 to 2 days, right? Now, will losing body fat help you get better on your tests and perform? Well, sure. If you're 40 pounds lighter or 20 pounds lighter, don't you think your push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, running, all your things would be easier? Yes. And actually, a lot of time when you start to lose body fat, your strength goes up. If you're training, we see it all the time. It's weird. Every time I do a cut, the first 3 weeks I hit PRs. Science, bodies are weird. And then the other thing is nutrition actually isn't as important, which you might surprise you. Nutrition is not as, and I don't want to hear you guys like attack me about my typing. Okay. That's why I got autocorrect. Grammarly's saving me. So nutrition actually isn't as important. Now, does it mean you're supposed to be eating McDonald's every day? No, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that like you can get stronger and get better endurance and get better cardio if your nutrition's like, okay. Will your body composition change? Will you gain muscle or burn fat? Maybe not. But you absolutely can increase your performance without the way you look changing at all. Okay. Have you ever watched the UFC or football? Some of these guys don't look physically that great, but they're actually very athletic and they have way better cardio than like anybody at the gym, especially fighters. But like maybe they don't look like a jacked bodybuilder. The way you look and the way you perform really almost have zero relation. There's some correlation, but there's no causation, which basically means like it doesn't mean if you look good, you're going to perform well. Okay. So you should focus on all three, but it's not that big a deal. And then if you're going to gain, muscle, I will say you should do 3 days a week still. And nutrition is very important, right? And the reason I say it's very important if you're trying to gain muscle is for a couple reasons. Everybody wants to gain muscle the best way possible, which is basically like gaining muscle with almost gaining no fat. And it's very hard to do. If you're within the first 1 or 2 years of training, then you can do it. Is very important. You can do it in the first couple years. We see it. We have people come in all the time. They do a body scan in their first 6 months, and almost every scan, they are literally at the same time burning fat and gaining muscle. And you can do that. After like 2 years, a year and a half, you really don't see both happen at the same time if you're consistent with training, okay? Which is something that you have to understand. So nutrition is very, very important. Especially we have some like smaller guys that are what we would consider hard gainers. So it's very hard for them to gain muscle. They have to be really dialed in on their nutrition. A lot of those people say, well, no matter what I eat, I can never gain any muscle and I can never hold on to it. It's actually not because you're not eating enough. You're not eating the right amount and the right macros, the right amount of protein, the right amount of carbs, the right amount of fat, and nutrition is not super consistent. The more you lift, the more you break down your muscle if you're lifting for hypertrophy and intensity. Okay. So if you're doing like, 3-4 sets, 10 to 12, 10 to 15 reps, like that's in that hypertrophy, which just means like muscle growth range. And I'd say 3+ days. So you see all these 1 to 2, 3, 3, and you can literally hit all these. This is not me like saying, oh, maybe like, no, we have people in our program right now accomplishing all of these goals. Okay. Another question you have to ask yourself is, are you organized and planned? I'm not going to even type anything there. If you're not organized and planned, then it's going to be, actually, I'm going to type something. Okay. All right. So Google Calendar is basically the only thing that you need in your life to stay organized and planned. So I'm just going to put that right there. So if you don't have a Google Calendar, go get one. And the reason I say that, I'm not going to show you my calendar right now because there's a bunch of personal stuff on there, but if I should have made a separate calendar, but if you don't have a calendar, and I'm going to tell you right now, a paper calendar is not a good calendar because you don't always have your paper calendar with you. I say the same thing to my wife. She literally has a whiteboard, a paper calendar, and in her phone. And I'm like, you want to have multiples, go ahead, but your phone's generally always with you. And especially if something needs to change on the fly, you can open up your phone and change it. Me, my coaches, and most of our clients live by our Google Calendar. I've had people that say, oh, I can only go 2 days a week to the gym, or I can only go 3. I build them out a Google Calendar. I put all their times in there, everything they do, what time you wake up, what time you eat, whatever. And every single time, without fail, I have found 3 days a week that somebody can, maybe they don't want to, but they could go train for 45 to 60 minutes every time. And if there is somebody that can't, you need to reassess your life because you're overworking or you're overtasking yourself. Because if you literally can't find that much time, then you have a very unbalanced, unhealthy life. And I've been there. I've worked 2 jobs, business coaching, this thing, like grinding, and I still go, and make plenty of time in the gym. And no, it's not because I'm a fitness trainer. Even when I didn't do this for a full-time job, I went 5 to 6 days a week. Yes, I had less free time. Yes, I didn't do as many things as I wanted. Yes, some days I couldn't get all my house cleaning done, but I really didn't. I wanted to prioritize my goal of getting in shape. Okay. And then, are you making enough time? Okay. This is just an honest question you have to ask yourself. I've worked with, me and my team have worked with literally over 1,000 clients. I've been training for 13 years. And one of the things I see is people really just, they're maybe organized, because I know a lot of people that have calendars and they still say, I don't have time, which is, I think, just a BS excuse. We make time for what's most important, 100%. If you can scroll through TikTok, if you can be on Facebook like this, I'm not saying don't watch me, I appreciate your support, but if you can scroll through Facebook, if you can sit there and watch a couple hours of TV every night, which is the vast majority of America, you can work out for 30 to 45 minutes. So, okay. So now here's the meat and potatoes. You might say, well, Coach Stefan, what specifically should I do? And I'll put this on one page to make it organized for you. All right. If you can only work out 3 days a week, it does not have to be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And in fact, I'm gonna give you a little bit of insight. I generally don't like Monday, Wednesday, Friday for one reason. Most people fall short with nutrition and training on the weekends. They either drink a lot of alcohol and eat like crap, and don't work out, right? That's like the 3 things that would be really bad. Or they do one of those 3 things. And I've been doing this a long time, and I feel like most people fall off the wagon on the weekend. So telling somebody train Monday, Wednesday, Friday is great. However, there should be some tasks during the weekend. It doesn't have to be necessarily going to the gym, but staying active and being conscious of your nutrition. The weekend is not a mini vacation every single week. And if you live your life like that with training and nutrition, you are going to kill your progress in the gym. 100%, non-negotiable. I'm not saying don't have fun on the weekends, right? There's actually ways that we work with our clients where we set them up on the weekday nutritionally so they can actually go out and have some drinks and eat over their calories, right? Because we put them in a deficit and it makes sense, but just be careful training like this. Now, if you're a first responder and you train like 3 on, 4 off, there's a crazy schedule, just find 3 days, doesn't matter what days, and it doesn't matter what time. And it also doesn't matter that one week you train these 3 days and another week you train the other 3 days. When you step back and you look at the big box, if you're like, hey, I'm training 3 days a week, awesome. Would it be optimal to have the same amount of rest time in between every workout and do the same workout every Monday and the same workout every Wednesday and so on and so forth? Sure, in a perfect world, I think we all like structure and organization. But with our first responders and this community we work with, we're like, look, the chances of you having this beautiful schedule that stays the same every week is probably not going to happen. And the sooner you accept that and go into what your life actually is going to look like, the sooner we're going to stop fighting and get something that doesn't work. Okay. So here you go. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. This is what I would do for almost everybody. Okay. For most people, and this is literally if your goal, and I'm not going to touch on performance. Next week, we'll talk about like how to increase your run time and stuff like that, I believe that is the topic. But let's just say this is for fat loss. Okay. So let's do this. Give you guys. Okay. So this is going to be fat loss and gaining. And yes, I have to look at my keyboard again. Like, don't come at me. It's not my first, I'm a trainer. Okay. I'm not like a computer guy. So fat loss and gaining muscle. Okay. So what I would generally do is we would do full bodies every single day. That's what that stands for, FB. And the reason is if your goal is to burn, I don't know why it's doing that, but if your goal is to burn body fat, okay, you should be training frequent because it burns a lot of calories. And when you do full body, you can do a lot of supersets. So basically I could do like pull-ups, okay, and then right into lunges, pull-ups, lunges. Then I could go bench press, deadlifts. Now, that's hard to superset those things. A superset basically means you do back-to-back workouts, but your heart rate's up, it's going to be quick and full. If you don't want to do supersets, which I'm just going to put right here, SS, which is supersets, you're going to do a lot of supersets probably each day, and you could superset compound movements. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to tell you exactly what to superset. So on Monday, maybe we're doing, right, let's just say like pull-ups. You could do these machine assisted, right? And then what you're going to do is you're going to superset. Let's say we're going to superset walking, dumbbell, lunges. Okay. The reason that I think this is going to be super effective is because you're doing an upper body, you're doing a lower body. This is kind of like, I guess, more of a push. You're working really your whole low body, like your glutes, your hamstrings, everything. But like this is going to get your freaking heart rate up. Oh yeah. Like it's going to jack your heart rate up. Okay. And then maybe your second compound movement. Remember, this is a full body. So we did an upper body push. Maybe we're going to do upper body pull. So maybe we just do push-ups. Okay. So I can't spell, but we're going to work with it. Maybe you're doing push-ups, right? And we're going to superset some type of hinge movement. So maybe we do dumbbell RDLs. Okay, you might say, well, how many sets and reps do I do? Now, this is really dependent on how much time you have in the gym, your training experience, what your goal is. If you're trying to burn fat, I always say higher reps. And just hear me out. A lot of people, scientifically, actually lifting heavier burns more body fat. I'll say that again. Scientifically, lifting heavier actually burns more body fat because generally, if you lift heavier, you have more tension and it breaks down your muscle a little bit more, which means more recovery, which means more calories used, okay? However, the big thing about lifting like, 3 sets of 6, right? Or something like that, really low, or 5x5s, your heart rate gets up, but it's not the same as doing supersets and lifting like 18 reps or 15 reps. And I'm doing a 15 or 18, 15, 12 right now, which means I do 3 sets, 18 reps, 15, 12. Am I as strong as I've been? No, but I've actually been gaining a lot of muscle and my heart rate is substantially higher and I'm supersetting a lot. So I don't feel like I need to get a lot of extra cardio in. Again, you only have 3 days a week. You're short on time, right? So maybe you're doing that. And let's just say you're going to do these. I'm just going to put in my 3 sets of 12 because that's like the magic number, okay? And for the pull-ups, again, you can still do 12. You just need a band or a machine and you could do it. If you're really, really, really heavy, maybe you do a lat pull down, right? Maybe you substitute it so you're not actually pulling yourself up and holding on. Maybe you just do a lat pull down, okay? So you're going to do the push-ups, right? You're going to do the dumbbell RDLs, and then you're going to pick one auxiliary movement. So maybe today I'm just doing like incline, because it's my favorite, incline, dumbbell, bicep, curls. Okay. So that's day one. Look how freaking simple that is. And let me make this a little easier for you guys. Let's see if we can like underline this. Boom. Well, let me do it. Awesome. Right. So that's basically day one, right? Now you might say, well, that looks really simple. Well, yeah, you don't have that much time. And honestly, I'm not even going to put the warm-ups and the mobility and everything in there. This is just like the meat and potatoes. Okay. This is a big compound movement. You did a push pull, and then you also kind of did like, I guess, a push pull, like a hinge and a lunge, right? On Wednesday, you could do something that is kind of just similar. And we're just going to copy this to make it a little bit easier. So we already did a push pull. So maybe over here, we're doing like a press. Maybe we're doing seated. I should know how to spell military, right? It's hard to talk and type. Seated military press. This could be barbell, dumbbell. And then maybe instead of doing walking lunges, you're going to do leg press, right? Easy machine, leg press. And then instead of doing push-ups, maybe we're going to do a different type of back workout. So maybe we're going to do, cause we did a pull-up. So maybe we're going to do single arm dumbbell row, and you can alternate those left and right. So we'll say left and right. Okay. And then instead of the dumbbell RDLs, maybe we do trap bar deadlift for the army people that do, ACFT. So maybe we're doing single arm dumbbell rows, right? By the trap bar. And that's a lot of pulling. Okay. So pull, we got like 2 pressing, 2 pulling. And then instead of doing dumbbell incline curls, maybe we sit there and we do tricep extension on rope or with rope, whatever. You get the whole point. So that's, again, super, super easy. And I'm not going to put, you could do whatever set and rep combos you want. I'm not going to get it too much into that. But like, there you go. You did 2 superset compound movements and 1 auxiliary. So we have a bicep, a tricep, and I say the arms because I know a lot of you guys want to work arms. And then maybe we do something else that's would be considered a full body, right? So maybe we're doing, I'm trying to think off the fly. It's not as complicated as you guys think. Now, obviously, there has to be some progressive overload. This is not how we make our programs with our clients. I'm just showing you that it's not that hard. This is only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 movements. 5 movements, that's it. Doesn't need to be this big convoluted thing and you got every special thing, right? So we're gonna say we're gonna do V-ups, and this would be a core movement, which again, I'm not gonna go too far into. And then maybe we're doing abduction and adduction, which is like, you know, if you sit on the machine and push your legs out and go in, that way we're working some auxiliaries. No, that's not a big compound movement, but this would maybe be your auxiliary day. You already got in a lot of stuff. And then maybe we're doing walking sleds, one of my favorite for tactical athletes. And if you don't have a sled at your gym, get a new gym. I'm just kidding. Down and back. I do these. If you haven't watched my stories, like, dude, crazy, right? Maybe I'm spelling that wrong. Sled, right? Walking sled down and back. So that you're going to do that. And honestly, I wouldn't even superset this at all because it's very, very, very cardio intensive, right? So this is going to be a cardio. And then maybe you get like an assault bike, right? Which you can do a cardio movement and a lifting movement. Maybe you do the assault bike or echo. And then maybe on the assault bike, I know this is probably painful to watch, but you're going to get the concept, okay? So we're doing an assault bike, and maybe we're doing like 30-second sprint, okay? Sprint with a 1:10 rest, okay? And you're going to do 5 rounds, okay? So this is, like I said, like maybe for here you do times 5, okay? I usually do times 10. It's a big turf. But you're going to do a little bit of like core, a little bit of like leg auxiliary. Again, total quad blasting, get some calves, some glutes, all that. And you're going to do the assault bike. And then maybe you're going to superset this, right? So you still do the rest and then you'll go in and you're going to superset this. And you could do whatever you want. We'll just say choice. Okay, so you could do a choice workout. And then maybe for those, you're doing times, well, I guess 5 rounds, right? Times 5. Okay, so your choice might be, hey, you know what? I didn't do any lateral shoulder. So maybe you do lateral dumbbell shoulder raises. And I want your attention for just another second. You might sit there and say, well, man, you're missing some things. Well, you're only working 3 days a week. When you're working out 3 days a week and you want short, effective workouts, right here, we're basically hitting everything. We're hitting your core, we're hitting your legs, we're doing a lunge, we're doing a dual movement. And no, there's no squats in here. Oh my God, kill me. Again, you're doing a lunge, you're doing sleds, you're working your legs. You probably don't even need to squat that much. If it's a PT test, I guarantee you don't. I have the trap bar in here. I have a hinge. I have a deadlift. There's a lunge. There's some arms. Okay. It's not a big deal. There's some push-ups, which you could do bench press if you wanted. And again, well, if you're only going to work out 3 days a week, it's not going to be perfect. But the cool thing with what we do with our clients is this might be phase 1. And phase 2, you might say, you know what? I'm going to swap out the push-ups or barbell flat bench with the incline because now I'm building a different part of the chest. So basically, there's no excuse. Now, the big question might be say, well, Coach Stefan, what do I do nutritionally? That's for another time because it's this training would be an hour long and I already know I've taken up 20-something minutes of your time. But that's how easy it is. I just built this on the fly, guys. Now, I'm not telling you to just go randomly put stuff. Exercise programming it's simple. But it's not easy. Okay. You got to know what you're doing for sure, but like, don't let that be a barrier. Oh, I don't have time and I don't know what to do. Literally go do this. If that's your barrier, there you go. I just got rid of your excuse. Here's 3 days a week. Now, obviously if you have injuries and all that stuff, use your freaking best judgment. Do not be like, oh, Coach Stefan told me to do that. I broke my back. Okay. Again, don't come yell at me. But this is something that is a really effective program. Like you could get extremely good results off this. Really, it comes out of consistency in your nutrition more than anything else. So again, if your goals are fat loss, you only need to train 1 to 2 days a week. Should you train 3 or more? Absolutely. I know you can make time for it, but like, there you go. Took the barrier away. If your nutrition is increasing your performance, go 3 days a week. Do that. Okay. And the cool thing is if you do that, you'll probably gain muscle and you'll probably burn fat. Almost all 3 of burning fat, building muscle, and increasing performance, if you train hard, if you train pretty intense, and your nutrition is like pretty decent, almost all 3 of those happen with every one of our clients. I don't know anybody that's built muscle or burned fat and their performance just didn't increase at all. We see people hitting PRs every single day in our program, and because we make things simple, okay? And if you're like, I don't have time, I don't know how to do it, well, you just go to the gym and you do it. And if you really need help, then book a call with me and we'll get you on a program. But like, you got to figure out, am I organized? Am I planned or organized? And I have a plan, because if you sit there and that's your biggest barrier, you're just beating your head against a wall. You can make time for it. Again, 3 days, 45 to 60 minutes. Some of these might be like more of a 60-minute workout, but like, you can make time. We have people that have multiple kids, work weird shifts, all this stuff. It's literally prioritizing it. And honestly, I would say make 2 or 3 days just the goal. Don't even try to go more. I see so many people that like, I haven't worked out for 5 years, but I'm super motivated and I want to go 5 days a week. And I'm like, that's a terrible plan. Number one, you're going to injure yourself. It's going from 0, and you times your training volume by 500%. 0 to 5 days, 500%. Now you're going to hurt yourself, and you don't give your body time to recover, and you're setting such a high, unrealistic expectation. And people do this all the time, right? I'm not going to eat any sugar for 30 days. Well, why don't you just say you're going to reduce your sugar? Why did you have to go to, having a Starbucks every morning to like nothing? That never works, guys. Don't do that to yourself. So hopefully this training was valuable. What to do? I mean, if you were laughing at that the whole time, it's okay. But there you go. Let me know if you have questions on this. Definitely comment. I'm willing to have that conversation with you. I know I'm not like getting in the comments right now because I'm busy doing this training, but let's have a conversation. You guys can DM me. I know for some of you, I'm texting on my business phone. So you could sit there and ask me questions about your current training split stuff. I'm here to help. And we'll do a training next Thursday. Every Thursday, 3:45 MST or Arizona time, because I know the time zone changes. Arizona doesn't change their time zone, so we will do the Facebook Live in here.